Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into the North Main Minute. I'm Joshua Dobie. A foundational planning question with which we are dealing every day in some way, shape, or form. And it's one of the most challenging points of planning that we have here at North Main Financial. And that has to do with the broad idea of estate planning, but then looking most specifically for this update at long-term care planning. Now, long-term care planning, again, as I mentioned, one of the most challenging parts for which to plan and to implement certain strategies, because almost all of the options have significant challenges associated with them. You may or may not be familiar with long-term care insurance. There are insurance policies which you can purchase, which will be able to be used for assisted living or more formal long-term care, sometimes called nursing home care kinds of spaces. The challenging part with that is those policies are very, very expensive. And it's important to keep that kind of thing in mind, especially when you're seeing how much they cover and then for what duration. Because a lot of those policies, they may pay for 2 years or 4 years or 6 years, and then they stop paying. So that if your stay is longer than that, then you'll be required to use other means in order to be able to pay for those expenses. Then there is the self-insurance kind of thought process, which says, well, I'm going to save enough into my portfolio so that if I and my partner and or spouse need those kinds of benefits, then we're going to be able to draw from our portfolio to be able to make that happen. That also is a strategy, definitely can work, but be mindful that the cost associated with assisted care and long-term care expenses is significant. It's very common for us to see $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month or more in long-term care expenses. Now, they don't tend to be longer in duration in most instances, but sometimes they are. So it can be very challenging from a financial standpoint putting those kinds of strategies in place unless you start very, very early. The third option that we see out there, and this is true for everybody, but it involves a spend down scenario in the estate or some irrevocable gifts that are given outside of your estate, and that has to do with qualification for Medicaid. Now, there is an entire planning process with a lot of legal ramifications associated with it that involves Medicaid qualification of one's estate. Not going to get into that here. Just be aware that Medicaid, not Medicare, which is health insurance for everybody at age 65 and above, Medicaid is intended specifically for health and for long-term care for folks who don't have any assets or are not financially able to care for themselves. So that's a whole nother planning discussion, a whole separate item. We want you to be, frankly, for this update, aware that it's out there. And then if you need to speak with a long-term care attorney, we encourage folks, look for folks who have a certified elder law attorney designation associated with them. There aren't too many out there, but you want to be mindful of that. Those are folks who specialize in those kinds of things and hopefully can be the most helpful as you're looking at your planning. If you want to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, talk about what estate planning means, long-term care insurance planning means, or long-term care planning overall, connecting with certain attorneys who may be able to help you as either with regards to your estate planning documents or Medicaid qualification, we'd love to chat with you. NorthMainFinancial.com.